Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. The timestamps are in the description box. Story 1. Opie writes, My boyfriend separated from his ex-wife almost 2 years ago. They have an 8-year-old daughter who lives with her mom, and I was aware when we started dating. I do not have kids of my own. We have been dating for 1 year and 3 months. He mentioned me to his kid shortly after we started going out, as she sensed that her dad was on the phone more than usual. We talked about the possibility of me meeting with her, as she seems very eager about it. I told him I wasn't ready and I need time, and I didn't know how long it will be before I am fully comfortable with the idea. I like kids, but I don't know how to interact with them. We were also struggling to find free time for the both of us to do things together, since his agreement requires him to take care of his daughter on all his off-work days. This topic of meeting his kid came up a few times in the first few months of dating. When I said I wasn't ready, he agreed to wait. However, later on, his father started to question why I have not met the kid yet, and the people he talked to also questioned our relationship. He told me he feels upset that we are not at the point he wants us to be, and that according to many others, the meeting should have happened after going out for 6 months. He also said the kid feels sad when she asked about meeting me and was told not yet. I have been experimenting with the idea in my mind the whole time, but I couldn't bring myself to do it when I know I wasn't ready, and I expected him to respect this and give me time, regardless of what other people say, since no two relationships are the same, and I don't see why I have to stick to their timeline. Fast forward to last month. I told him I'm finally ready to take the plunge, and he sounded quite happy about it. We went through our schedules, set the potential dates, decided on how we're going to do it, and we wait. Then, 3 weeks later, he suddenly told me he feels hopeless, and at this point he feels it's too little too late. There has been a lot going on in his life lately, and it's causing him a tremendous amount of stress. But I thought on this front we were making progress, and things could get better. I explained again why I needed the time, and I appreciate the patience. However, he is focused on how hurt he feels, and at this point he wants a breakup. I don't understand how things can go south so quickly, and when we were getting so close after trying for this long, he wants to call it quits. I don't know what to do, and part of me is hurt that he doesn't seem to care about what I went through to get to this point. Edit. I brought up the subject just before our 1-year mark, but shortly after our anniversary, something happened that broke my trust in him. He recognized that I could not have met the kid at that point when I don't know I'll be in her life for much longer. We worked on rebuilding that trust, and my plan was to bring up the topic again once the relationship has stabilized after what happened. Note that he and his ex are separated, not divorced. As far as I know, he filed for the divorce, but never kept me in the loop about any progress. Okay, Opie, I get the idea that maybe there's more to the story that you're not telling us. 1 year and 3 months is a very long time to be with someone and still you haven't met the child. And you don't sound really very interested in meeting the child. I don't know why it was so difficult for you. It does seem a bit off to me. I can understand why his feelings were hurt and why the child was upset about it. Okay, let's get a comment with a reply from Opie and then we go to Opie's update. While it's a good idea to wait to introduce kids to significant others, over 1 year is a bit long for someone that comes as a package deal with his kid. He has expressed that both him and the daughter have been ready, and you not being ready is sending off red flags. It's okay if you don't want to meet her, but you probably should not be dating single parents if that's the case. Opie says, I have always wanted to get to the point of meeting her, and I think it can turn out well. However, it was not easy for me to be ready, since I've never been in this situation before and don't have any kids in my life. The other part of the problem is that I feel a lack of support from him and a neglect of my needs while trying to meet his. He hasn't been proactive in communicating anything until I prodded. I didn't know he felt stressed by his dad's comments. I also have to deal with people around me telling me this is a bad idea. So the both of us were getting pressure from around us for different reasons. Also, I feel if all parties involved are not equally ready, it won't end well. Okay, and now we've got OP's update. This is an update on my previous post. Thank you all for the advice and experience. The comments definitely provided more clarity to my situation, and I also understand better how he felt. I don't think either of us were in the wrong, rather we had different needs, or we weren't compatible. We have broken up. He wants things to move way faster than I'm comfortable with. Also, since his parents introduced multiple partners into their children's lives after their divorce, he sees no problem in doing that and told me, quote, "Kids are resilient, they will be fine," unquote. We don't see eye to eye on important matters like this, and I feel like I will always be trying to catch up to him. The meeting with his daughter could have changed everything, but he was too tired to go ahead with it, and I understand. I still wished the meeting had happened sooner after our latest discussion, but at this point it is what it is. There was also poor communication between the two of us, which made things more complicated and difficult. I didn't communicate all the activities and fun stuff I imagined doing with his daughter. And to him, that was a sign that I wasn't interested, when I was actually excited about it. I wish him well, and that hopefully we will both be able to find a more suited partner in our next relationship. I will not be dating single parents again, that's for sure. Well, Opie, I think that's a good idea because it still sounds a bit strange to me that so much time went by and you kept saying you weren't ready. I don't think you really wanted to date a man with a child. But whatever the case may be, good luck to you and your ex. Let's move on to story number 2. English is not my first language, so excuse my spelling errors. So I, 25 male, have had a pretty crappy summer since it started. Not going to explain too much, but long story short, my mom had died from heart failure around the last week of May. So I was already in a sad and heartbroken mood because my mom and my sister is the only family I have. Since my grandma, aunts, uncles and cousins live in another country, we don't have any contact with them, nor do they contact us. Ever since my mom died, I was just left let down because I knew my sister was also sick from cancer, since it runs in the family. I had my girlfriend for support and she really tried to cheer me up, but nothing really worked. A few days passed, I decided to take my girlfriend on dates, movies, trips and getaways so I can get my mind off my mother's death. It worked half the time, but later on I would remember that she's not here anymore. Lately, I've been noticing that my girlfriend has been distancing herself a lot lately, which I appreciated then, but now it just felt more lonely because after I got over my mother's death, I've been trying to spend more time with her. But then I realized that she had been spending time with a guy best friend and girlfriend as friends, as she says. So I think to myself, quote, "Oh, they are just friends going out and catching up," unquote, which is fine by me. I trust my girlfriend completely, to the point I know she wouldn't do anything to hurt or betray me. It never really bothered me until I started realizing that she didn't want to go out as much. She kept telling me that she wants to stay home and be there for me, which I appreciated, but I kept telling her that I was fine. But again she told me that one day she wants me to meet her guy and girl best friends, which I agreed. She never gave me reason for me to be insecure or jealous, because when I met them, they acted like a trio of best friends, especially since the guy already has a girlfriend. So fast forward to July, I get devastating news that my sister had passed away from cancer. At that point, I just felt like I was punched repeatedly in my stomach and my world just shattered. Why? Because I had lost the closest people to me that have been there for me since I was little. I have no doubt that one day I will get sick too, but I didn't worry about that now. So the only thing that is going through my mind is just to go home and be with my girlfriend and tell her the news, because all the stress from work and my sister's death was getting to me now. When I arrive home, my girlfriend's guy best friend is sitting at our porch waiting. When I approached him, he gave me a look of sadness and sorrow. I ask why he's there, and he tells me that my girlfriend went drinking with her best friend, and that her best friend told him that my drunken girlfriend had left with some man. At that point, I just felt sick, alone, and most of all, betrayed. Why? Because the last person that I loved had betrayed me and did something irresponsible. I just told the guy, thanks for telling me, and I walk in my apartment and I just start crying in my room. My girlfriend never came back that same day. I did get a text from her, but I didn't answer. I didn't even tell her about my sister's death because I was just emotionally drained and hurt. So I just kept a straight face. She noticed the faces I have been making, but I only gave her short answers, and she would just look at me then shrug. When funeral approaches, I still hadn't told her about her death yet. I noticed my girlfriend wasn't even in the apartment. So I just thought she went to work and etc. So I wear my funeral suit. It's short and sad and heartbreaking. Not a lot of people were there. Wasn't expecting a lot of people there since we're not close with other family, and I just go home. I didn't even have the urge to take off my suit, so I just loosen my tie and sit on the couch and cry. Hours pass by. I hear my girlfriend walk in and hear sniffing and a runny nose. I didn't even look at her. She just tells me, hey, and I would say, hey, back. She basically stands there muttering something. When I looked at her, she looked like she was crying. She just tells that she had something to confess. So I just tell her, quote, I know what you did, unquote. And she gives me a face of regret and starts crying. She kept apologizing and saying sorry and all this stuff which I ignored. So I just sat there listening. When she noticed what I was wearing, she asked me why I was wearing the suit, and I didn't answer. I just narrowed my eyes on the funeral card. When she reads it, she gasps and looks at me with a crying face. I just look straight ahead with tears on my face. She just sat next to me and cried on my shoulder. I didn't feel her touch, maybe because I was too tired or just emotionally drained. But now I just never felt so alone. Now my girlfriend is just begging and crying for me to forgive her, and I really don't know if I can. Oh my goodness, OP, I cannot even imagine what you've been through. Like in May, your mom passes away. In July, your sister passes away. And then you find out this about your girlfriend, the person that you thought you could count on. I can't even imagine the state you must be in. The grief, grieving your mother, your sister, and this relationship. Let's get a comment with a reply from OP, and then we're going to get OP's update. Geez, OP, I'm sorry. That is a lot to go through all at once. I know you could do without losing another person, but you should leave your girlfriend. You don't need her if you can't trust her, and you have bigger problems to deal with than her feeling sorry for herself. OP replies, yeah, I have no intentions in being with her again. I just wanted to stop crying because I don't know what to do. And here's OP's update. Before I start, I know it's been 2 months since my last post, and to be honest, I didn't think about updating or giving a follow-up because I didn't want to think about the situation. I'm posting this because I had a lot of DMs telling me to update, so yeah. So just a recap, my mother has passed away at the start of summer, so I was already depressed because I'd been looking forward to just relax and have her meet my girlfriend, 24, now ex. But when she passed away, I was getting depressed. And then my sister passed away as well, and I was at my lowest point because I didn't have any more living relatives. No grandma or grandpa, no cousins, or at least I do, but they never talk to us since they live somewhere in the other side of the country. No dad, since he left when I was born. He's out there somewhere. Now the update. So, in most situations when you and your girlfriends girlfriend/boyfriend are going through arguments or are going through a rough point in their relationship, they will seek emotional support from a guy best friend. And usually they will sleep with them because they felt it was in the heat of the moment. You know, all the BS they say to explain their reasoning on why they did it. Well, surprisingly in this case, her guy best friend is the one who told me about my girlfriend cheating on me. No, she didn't cheat on me with her guy best friend. He's the one who actually tried to get my girlfriend to stop from going any further from cheating on me with some guy she met at a bar. But you know how all drunk stories goes. They get drunk, then you know that stuff happens then. Blah, blah, blah. When I found out she cheated on me, I was just angry, sad and depressed. But most of all, I felt betrayed because I thought maybe I had one more person that still loved me, that was still alive. But I guess that wasn't the case. I'll admit I sort of neglected her for the most part of the summer because I was still trying to process my mother's and sister's passing. And I feel responsible for not giving my girlfriend the attention she deserved. So I just kindly asked her to grab her stuff and find another place to stay because I was through with her. Of course, she begged me to give her another chance, but I was so emotionally drained that I couldn't handle any more emotional stress. So I just declined and tell her to leave. I have been hanging out with her girl and guy best friend, and they told me that my ex has changed a lot. They told me that she feels guilty and stupid because of the decisions she made and she feels regret. They told me that she went on a date and that it went well, but she said that it didn't feel right because it wasn't me. She says that she still loves me and that she would do anything to get my forgiveness. They told me that she just works and goes home now, and all she does is just sit around and watch TV. Her friends tried to get her to go hang out and meet some guys, but she refuses and states that she still misses me and that she doesn't feel anything with the guys she goes out with. Now her friends are asking me to meet with her and see if we can work out something. They told me that my forgiveness would be fine and that she just wants me to forgive her so she wouldn't have to feel so guilty anymore. Okay, OP, I think your ex wants you back. It's not just about forgiveness because her friends have told you that she isn't interested in these other guys that she's been seeing and she's thinking about you and how much better things were with you. So this is something you need to be prepared for. She's trying to get back with you. And whether or not you take her back, well, that is a decision for you to make. But you are vulnerable at this point, so maybe give it some more time and see what happens. Let's get some comments with replies from OP. All that talk asking you to do stuff for her to feel better. Shameless much? Where are your feelings in all this? Don't they realize she was the one who cheated? Reverse roles and imagine. Sorry for your loss. I hope you feel better and treat yourself well. Take care. And OP replies, yeah, I got used to this situation. I'm just stuck deciding what I should do now. And someone else says, you don't owe her anything. This whole thing of you apologizing to relieve her guilt, it's more emotional abuse. Another instance of her discounting your feelings to make herself feel better. Tell her to F off and never contact you again. Also, stop hanging out with those two people. They are not your friends. And to this OP replies, her friends aren't entirely on her side, but they told me that they just wanted us to at least talk about it. Her guy friend is the one who told me to decide whether I wanted to talk to her or not. Well, OP, it is your decision, but once again, I'm going to say maybe give it a bit more time. And on we go to story number 3. OP writes, so, background. Long story short, we met, fell in love, moved in with each other, had a baby, bought a home. So, we have been together a little over 2 years. She asked me so many times, quote, you want to marry me, right? Unquote. In a cute way and always dropped hints and all that stuff. I'm just saying she wanted and talked about marriage a billion times. I finally did it. A fancy dinner at a place downtown, drinks, and once we got home, a very nice surprise and set up out in the lawn. Lights spelled out, marry me. and had our baby holding the ring box. Very nice ring, by the way. It was awesome. I cried and was super nervous. She was happy, but something was off. She was happy, but also kind of like, quote, "Oh, that's cool," unquote. She said she really liked the ring, but once we went back inside the house, she just sat down on the couch and went on her phone, not to call friends or family, but to sit on TikTok. I was like, "Oh, that's cool, we can chill." The other thing that is eating at me is that I am the only one being all cute like, quote, "Oh my gosh, we are going to be husband and wife," unquote, and being excited. She has only mentioned the ring, nothing about us, or being excited or happy. Really weird. You know what is also weird? She hasn't told anyone yet, not even her kids, not her mom or her friends. I already told my mom and co-workers, and they are happy for me, but now I have this weird anxiety like, what the F? It's been 4 days now, and she ain't even mentioned it. Am I crazy, or is this strange? Well, we do have an update from Opie, and Opie, I have to say, yes, that is very strange. 4 days, and she hasn't told anybody, and she's been asking you, as you say, 1,000,000,000 times about getting married, and you finally ask her, and this is her reaction. That is weird. Let's get Opie's update. Update. Wow, a sign from God has happened. Before I can even mention this conversation, things turned sour. So I came home after work. Her and kids are there. We are hanging out with the baby. Everything was fine. As we wind down and sit up in our bed, the baby is next to us. I'm looking for something to put on the TV. She is messing with a folder for work. She hands the baby these plastic sheets to play with, and I take it away from the baby. I don't want her to play with plastic and choke or anything. And my, quote, fiance, unquote, hands the baby another plastic sheet, and she gives me this look. I'm kind of like, what the F? Maybe she is in a mood. I don't know. But I put the plastic sheets on my nightstand and she snaps at me. She tells me that I'm raging and upset. I'm like, quote, no, I'm not. What are you talking about? Unquote. And she claims I was aggressively slamming these plastic sheets on the table and that I was raging, LOL. I explained I didn't want the baby to choke on plastic. Then she sticks to this pushy narrative that I'm mad at her and always mad. I simply explain she should ask me if I'm upset rather than assume and not have a conversation with me. She tells me she is, quote, done, unquote, with my BS. I then ask her, don't you even care about the engagement? She said no and gave me her ring back, and we are breaking up as of this night. Holy balls. I don't even know how to process this crap. Like, this whole exchange was so childish and didn't even make sense. I sat and tried to reason and talk to her why she was acting out, and she just shut me out. So I now have to contact a custody lawyer and start my life over. Holy crap. What an insane situation. She clearly didn't want to marry me, even though she brought it up all the time lately. Nor did she even love me and doesn't value our, quote, family, unquote, we created. I'm at a loss and probably won't sleep much tonight. Wow. Well, Opie, that definitely is a very strange turn of events. I don't know what to think about that, but I do know it's very odd when somebody picks a fight with you for no reason at all. There's always something else going on in situations like that. Let's get a comment with a reply from Opie. What was your response when she'd get cutesy and ask if you wanted to marry her? And Opie replies, when she mentioned it in the past, I always made it clear that I would love to be her husband. I told her I wanted it to be a bigger thing rather than us just sitting around the house like a special trip, vacation, or fancy evening. I eventually went with a perfect weekend when we didn't have all the kids in the house and took her to a fancy dinner and drinks and shopping all day. And that night I did the romantic scene like in the movies and had the baby holding the ring for her when she walked out on the front porch. We live on our own property out in the woods/country. Has glowing light up letters in the grass that spelled out marry me and look really nice. Well, that was the latest from Opie as far as his engagement, now broken engagement, is concerned. I'm actually wondering, Opie, if maybe it's the way you proposed that she's not happy with. Because, as you said, she wasn't excited. I think you should just come right out and ask her. Because you said that you went to a nice dinner and stuff, and then you talk about shopping all day and shopping all night, and then going home and the proposal. I don't know, maybe it was something about it that she just didn't like. And especially after all this time, maybe she was expecting something more. I really don't know. Some people care a whole lot about proposals and other people don't. They don't have these big expectations. They're just happy for the moment. But everyone is different. So maybe you should just ask her. Well, that's it for now. If you like this, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Leave a comment and I'll see you again next time. Take care of yourself.